Expo right here on the floor. We're dragging people off the floor to talk about important industry issues, whether it's legislative changes, new products in the market. We've had some incredible experts on, and I'm joined by yet another one. Nicholas Siegfried, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me. You guys have been talking a lot about the recovery report, so I'm glad I made it on here.
Finally. I think we may have scheduled you once or twice for the recovery report live.
That's something, trial come up or some conflict.
Some conflict. But
Maybe.
we're live, we're here.
Happy to be here.
We took our show on the road, if you will.
It's an amazing setup.
Brought you into the fire.
Glad to be here.
So I got to catch a bit of the presentation on the new 558 revisions, if you will, or changes. What's your take on that whole thing?
My take is that the construction industry, the contractors, developers have been pushing for a while to reduce the statute of repose. Originally it was 15 years.
Yep.
Not too long ago. Then it was reduced down to 10 years. And now they've pushed more to get it down to 7 years. So statute of repose is the outside time period where you could file a lawsuit to bring a claim for construction defects.
So is this a win for community associations, or is it a win for the construction industry, or are there no winners, or they're all losers in here? How does this, let's say this law passes, who is it good for?
It's good for the construction industry. They're definitely the winners in this. I mean, I've received the email blasts from the AGC.
Yeah.
We did it. We got it done. We're down to 7 years. So they've been pushing this for a while. It's definitely a detriment to community associations, though, and unit owners, because now, as originally they had 10 years, essentially, to find construction defects. Now, if it's a latent construction defect, if it appears in year 6, great. If it appears in year 8, out of luck.
And I have to ask this question, because you went 15 to 10, 10 to 7. Are these numbers arbitrary, or are they meaningful to someone?
I think they're completely arbitrary. There's no scientific analysis that they proposed to the legislature and said, you know what, if there's data has shown that construction defect 95% of the time will arise by year 6, so we're giving them an extra year. That's nothing like that. So there's
no, I was going to say is like year 6, 7. What happens from year 6 to 10? I mean, I don't understand. By the way, I'm at a loss. I read it. I reviewed it. I read the Siegfried Rivera blog. I think Robbie Blanche wrote an article on it. I've been looking at these things to try to understand, because we have a similar thing on the insurance side of stuff. Statute of limitations, I'm bringing hurricane claims, particularly. That's always the big attack, right? 5, 2, they just keep changing it. And everyone's scratching their head going, how did you come up with 2 versus 5? And what happens in year 3 to 5? There's just really no rhyme or reason. We do know that following a major hurricane, because of scarcity of labor and materials and things that occur thereafter, that the consumer is 100% disadvantaged by reduction of statute of limitations, particularly for community associations who have turnovers and boards, and that board may not have done anything after the hurricane, and then they discover these issues and they want to pursue them, and now they can't. Right. So, from what you're telling me, is that a little bit of an arbitrary? Is there anything else arbitrary about the legislation that you have a bigger issue with?
Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, especially on this show. I'm sure the insurance, because, construction defects, it's primarily paid by insurance companies, and they were certainly behind the push.
Yep.
Right, because that reduces their exposure on any project that's built by a developer or contractor. When they write that policy, they know they're on the hook for 10 years. Now they're on the hook for 7 years. So insurance rates should come down, right? Should expect that.
You should.
Their risk is
except
less, right?
Except the legislators writing this stuff is, they pass these bills, and they are literally on a trend of 2 years of saying, oh, we need this to save money on insurance. They pass the bill, and then they go, oh, maybe 18 months or so before you see anything.
By then, everyone's forgotten anyways, right?
There's another hurricane, 2 hurricanes. There's who knows, major drought, huge fires, and then that's the excuse or reason for it. But yeah, I mean, I think it kind of goes hand in hand, right? They're attacking the statute of limitations on hurricane claims or claims in general, and at the same time attacking the repose limits on construction, kind of, again, at the same time, right? It's happening in the same legislative sessions, and it's interesting to see the timing of things, for sure.
For sure, yeah. I mean, they're trying to reduce risk. That's what it comes down to. The other thing with the statute of repose, before you talk about statute of limitations, statute of repose, the statute of limitations before this bill was 4 years from completion of construction, abandonment of construction, termination of a contract, had all these different ways of analyzing when the last payment was made. It's a little bit confusing. And then whichever those events was the latest.
Right.
Right. So you had a menu of items to pick from, and then
but it was clear.
Which one? No, it wasn't that. It
no.
Wasn't that clear. No, it wasn't that clear.
Okay.
So to a certain, so now it's TCO, which is clear. That's a bright line date.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a TCO issued, CO, or certificate of completion or abandonment of construction, and then it's 4 years, whichever is earliest. All right, so it's a little bit clearer. At least you know now. TCO, you get that TCO date. You gotta put down 4 years.
Yeah.
Right, and then that's for issues, defects that you know. Anything that you don't know, latent defect, you gotta find it within that 7-year period.
Do you think this is coming at a difficult time though, when you have issues of labor, issues of material, economic downturn? You're now shrinking the time period to get these things done. You have these capital reserve requirements that are requiring the same, by the way, same professionals that are doing the investigation into the defects, although typically the ones same engineering firms, consulting firms that are doing the reserve studies are doing the defects. So you're really just piling on the issues in a very compressed amount of time. And the reserve studies, the time period to get those things done is just right around the corner. They already knew when they passed the laws that there was not even enough engineers in the entire state of Florida that if they did a report every single day, they wouldn't get it done. So you're just smushing all this in together, and you have very active storm seasons. And again, a lot of those same professionals are the ones helping the community rebuild from a lot of this disaster. So I just think they're just compounding the issues. I don't think anyone's clearly looking at this stuff, and I'm struggling with a lot of ideas as to how to make it better. We were just asked the future of insurance. Is the future bleak? I don't think so. I think that, again, when the pendulum swings so far to one side, that there's got to be some balancing, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that balance is and straighten us out a little bit here. But Nick, it's been awesome to have you on. I'm gonna any last few comments to wrap up our live session here from the LBA Expo?
Look, the LBA, phenomenal organization, phenomenal event, great speakers, great sponsors, and just a great organization. And I think this really shows this event right here that we got today.
Well, no, man, it's been awesome. It's been awesome to have you on, and I really want to thank you for joining us here. I know it's a little bit bringing you into the fire right here on the floor, going live, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn. Check us out online. Make sure you check out Siegfried Rivera as well. They got a ton of social media content. Stephanie does a great job of keeping you guys out there and informing obviously our clientele and the world of what's going on in the construction world. It's very important. You guys do a great job of doing those things. So thank you all for tuning in to our live broadcast. We'll continue doing this, dragging people in here into the fire. We brought the Recovery Report live on the road to the Latin Builders Association Expo, and we'll continue to find more people out there until the end of today to sit down, to talk about all these important issues that are impacting you, whether you're a community association or just a business owner. Continue to tune in so we can provide you information you can use. Again, Nick, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Dan.